What we're going to do today, guys, is the primary goal is talking about nutrition. I have a presentation, but I'm here for you guys, right? So if we need to go in a completely different direction based on the conversation or based on you guys, we'll do whatever we need to, right? We can play it by ear and kind of go from there. So I will start going down the path of what I have ready today, but if you guys are just not at that level in terms of like that's what you want to focus on in your nutrition, or you need a different kind of help, and that's not what you're looking for, I'm here for you guys, right? I have 2 hours till my son's soccer game, 2.5 hours. So I got 2 hours for you guys, right? We're not going to be here 2 hours, but if somebody needs extra guidance, all that, we'll kind of get into it. So again, apologize about that. Who here, I guess before I even get into it, who here has like a health and fitness goal right now? Everybody? Mostly everybody? Okay. Do you guys feel comfortable with like how to set a goal and how to make it more likely that you attain it? Like, do you guys feel comfortable with setting goals, making sure they're the right kind of goals, all of that to make it more effective? Or do you feel like that's something that you'd like help on?
I need someone.
Okay, I'll do a brief overview, okay? And just when you are setting these kind of goals, just kind of make sure it somewhat lines up with it, right? I won't spend too much time on it, but when it comes to a goal, ideally, like you need to have your outcome, right? So, and it needs to be something that you can measure. Because if it's too vague, then it's really hard to say, yes, I did, yes, no, I didn't, right? So ideally, when you're setting any type of goal, and this can be for anything, not just health and fitness related, is have some type of measurable outcome. Okay. Once you have that, you kind of forget about it after that. Okay. Because a lot of people will then just get fixated on this when this isn't what actually gets you to where you want to be, right? If I want to gain 10 pounds of muscle, if I only sit there and just think about 10 pounds of muscle, 10 pounds of muscle, I'm not going to gain 10 pounds of muscle, right? I have to do the things required to gain the 10 pounds of muscle or whatever it is for somebody, right? So after you have your measurable outcome, okay, I want you to do two things. When you say it, see it, put it somewhere you see every day or write it down every day or whatever it is. And say it in present tense, because what happens when you say it in present tense and you think about it visually consistently is there's a part of your brain that will go out and seek things to help you accomplish that and think that that's what your reality should be. How many of you guys have ever gotten a new pair of clothes or a new car or something, and then all of a sudden you see that car everywhere or see that piece of clothing everywhere? It's not that it wasn't there before, but there's a part of your brain that now that you're focusing on that will go out and seek it into your world, right? Because if my brain had to sit there and think about every single thing that's happening around me, oh, that color is blue, that wall is gray, there's a McDonald's sign behind me, there's Tim's wearing those kind of shoes, you know what I mean? Like there's so much going on in like around us that your conscious mind can't think of all this. Your unconscious doesn't, right? So it's the same thing when you're thinking about your goals and all that. You're 95% of the things that happen to you and with you and internally in particular is unconscious, right? If I had to sit here and think, okay, I got to breathe here, I got to expand my lungs, and I got to do this, and I got to talk this presentation, I got to make sure I keep my eyes open, like I can do it, right? So it's the same thing when your goals just done in a different manner. So think about it in a present tense, because then the part of your brain is going to go seek out things that match up and align with that. If you've ever had a goal and you start thinking about it, all of a sudden, like you meet the perfect person, right? Or you see a raw fitness ad, right? Or whatever it is, right? Like something pops up and you're like, oh, wow, that's weird. I was just thinking about that, because your brain starts to look for it. So say it in the present tense and say what emotion is going to happen when you reach that, right? Add emotion to it, because you're much more likely to be motivated by emotion than just a number on a scale, for example, right? So when I gain 10 pounds of muscle, this is not mine, but I'm just using an example. I'm going to feel more confident in my skin. I'm going to feel and look better. I'm going to feel like I'm going to be more attracted to my wife, right? That's something that might drive me or whatever it is. It's more emotionally tied. So I'm more likely to do that versus I want to gain 10 pounds of muscle, because that's not going to get me out of bed. How many have had an unmotivated day that you don't feel like going to the gym? Everybody better raise your hand, right? It's inevitable, right? So add emotion to this outcome. When I gain these 10 pounds, okay, or I'm now 10 pounds heavier, or I've gained 10 pounds of muscle, and I feel so much more confident, right? So that's even right there, that sounds better than I just want to gain 10 pounds, right? From there, put a deadline. Give yourself the deadline for the outcome because we will fill the time that we have, right? If you have a project that you have to do at home and you give yourself 4 hours versus you give yourself 1 hour, you'll probably get the same amount done. Okay. It's just human nature. We fill what we have. So that can be time, that can be money, right? That's why all of a sudden we're like, oh, my whole check's gone, right? What happened, right? Is we fill and use what we have. So if you decrease that, you'll still probably get it done and just be more efficient and effective at it, right? Because you'll weed out the things you don't need to do. Okay. So adding your deadline. And then the last piece is what are your actionable things that I'm going to do to get there, right? So I'm going to gain, or I'm so happy and confident now that I've gained 10 pounds of muscle within or by March 31st, whatever it is, right? And I'm going to, or I accomplish that by strength training 3 days a week, eating my body weight in protein, right? Or whatever the things are, which we're going to kind of do a little bit today of, right? When it comes to at least the nutrition side of things. Okay. But you need to have your habits, okay, 1 to 3 things that you're going to do to help get you that outcome, right? And that's kind of how you set a proper goal. Fair?
Fair.
So if everybody has a goal, take a picture of this or whatever you need to do, write it down. That's going to be how I want you to kind of go about having those goals. All right. I didn't plan that, but I was thinking through as I was, kind of going through this of just making sure you guys are set up for success when it comes to this. So over this presentation though, guys, you will, what we're going to do is we're going to dive into like calories, macros, nutrition, that kind of thing. You will leave here today if this is something that you want to go in this route is you will leave with a, can't read it. You don't know what's happening. Is your personal calories and protein goal. Okay. A simple example day of eating. I'm going to do a live version with anyone that's interested in me doing it with them. So if say we set a calorie goal for you, say we set a protein goal, I will create a meal plan with and for you with the best way to do it. Right. And I'll do it for a couple different people so you can kind of see it in action. We're going to kind of create a 30-day habit plan or action item that you guys are going to kind of do and stick to at the end of this. And then we'll check in everybody that's here. Did everybody sign up on the sheet, the sign up sheet, or text that you're going to come? Jarvis, I'll just add your name to it. If you guys think about it before you leave, add your name to it because then I'll do a reach out personally for you guys after. Okay. And everybody else will do that. So, all right. So has anybody been in the situation where you've eaten really clean, but you just weren't seeing the results you thought you would? Say aye. Yes, it happens, right? You're working really hard, the scale isn't moving, you're good all week, then maybe the weekends erase it, you're unsure if you're eating too much, too little, you feel like you're just kind of guessing your way through it, right? The situation is, when it comes like calories and macros, it sounds scary and everything there, and it can be a little bit of work, right? But you cannot improve what you do not measure, right? And that's for anything. If you're not measuring something, you can't improve it, right? And that's kind of why I also started with like, you need to have something that's measurable when it comes to your overall outcome. So instead of, guessing about what you're eating or how you're eating, because there are even studies that show if when you're tracking food or even measuring a little bit, calories can be off by like 25, 30%. Even if you're measuring it perfectly, like, well, the thing said it's 250 calories, but it could be 280. It could be 220, So it's not a perfect science and everything. So, and if you're not measuring or not tracking, even more so you have wiggle. You could be off by 50, 60, 70%. How likely is it that you're not going to hit your goals if you're off by 60%? Very high, right? Very high probability. Now, if you're tracking, okay, what you're doing and measuring it, you're going to get clarity, okay? Your body responds to averages over time, not a singular meal or not even a singular day, right? So when tracking or looking at measurables, it's going to show you how much you're actually eating and where things are being broken down from, okay? Now, the goal with this is to keep it as simple as possible, right? When we make it too complicated, we're not going to follow through, okay? So what are macros? Just kind of a quick breakthrough. If you've heard of kind of macros, it's a short for macronutrients, okay? It's protein, okay? That helps you build and repair muscles, shapes how you look and feel, keeps you full, things like chicken, yogurt, eggs, stuff like that, right? Carbohydrates are fuel for your brain, workouts, and recovery. Carbs actually help you maintain muscle. A lot of people try to like lose fat and they'll cut all their carbs and do all this. All of a sudden you start losing muscle mass, which then your metabolism drops and you gain all the weight back. You don't want to necessarily do that. Okay, examples: rice, fruit, oats. Fats are great for hormones. Hormones are very critical for body composition, overall health. Brain, hormone function, helps you feel satisfied. Avocados, ghee, olive oil, things of that nature. Okay, so when it comes to macros, I am a big believer. You do need all three. Okay, you just need the right amounts of the three. Okay. Again, I'll send you guys a slideshow because obviously you can't even take a picture of it. These are like my top 10 of each one that I prefer or recommend. Now, why does this work without being on a diet? Okay. Calories control weight loss or weight gain if that's your goal. Okay. Protein controls how you look and feel. Carbs and fats are flexible based on preference. So what my goal is for you today, if you are going to go this full route, is you have a calorie goal, you have a protein goal, you can fill the rest with whatever you want. If you want to eat chocolate all day, you can do it as long as it fits in your numbers, right? If you want to eat nothing but ice cream and chicken breasts, have at it, right? This is the best way. Yes, it takes a little bit of work, right? But so does staying overweight, not being happy, all of that. It's just a different kind of work, right? So if you're willing to do what you can for this and make it as simple as possible, this is the best way to not only get really good results, but maintain those results, learn how to do this long term, and do it in a way that you enjoy, right? Because if I want to have a glass of wine every night, right? And as long as I'm hitting my numbers, I can still get results. But if we're not measuring everything and doing that, and you add that on top of it, it could be limiting, right? So it allows you to kind of still eat normal foods, just in the right amounts, give you choices instead of random restrictions, okay? Tracking your food and macros gives you the flexibility to eat the things you love. This could be you, and so can this, right? You can have your cake and eat it too, okay? So when I did my original transformation, so at that point, a little bit after my dad passed away, kind of fell off a little bit, blah, 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 whatever. I did that 6 weeks later, doing exactly what you're about to learn. Okay. I did the exact nutrition plan. I did the raw workouts. It's the only workouts I did, right? So everything you did, I did there. Okay. So you guys ready to kind of build your custom plan? One person is. That's great. All right. All right. So I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible. Okay. Heidi, are you over there? Can you grab me a Kleenex, please? Thank you. All right. So, and you should have this little graph on your sheet. So look at that blue and white one, the phase 3 nutrition. It's the bottom right corner there. Okay. I need a couple times. Thank you. So how we recommend to do finding your caloric daily intake is, does everybody know what their current weight is? You're going to need your current weight, not your goal weight. Okay. You're going to look at one of these 5 sections, okay? If you want more extreme weight loss, you're going to take your body weight times between the number 7 and 9. I always recommend to start on the higher side because you can always drop. It's better to do that than go too low to start, right? So for the sake of this, if you're just like, I want to lose a ton of weight right now, I'm in that kind of phase, take your current body weight and times it by the number 9 to start. Okay, and if you want to get your calculators out, anything there, you can. If you want more moderate weight loss, take your body weight times it by 12. Again, you can always go a little bit lower. I just prefer to start on the higher end, and then you can always drop from there, right? If you're here and you just want to learn how to maintain your weight, right? You're going to take your current body weight times it by 15. When it says weight gain, that means like muscle mass, right? I'm sure nobody's here trying to gain a bunch of fat. I could be wrong, I'm assuming, but I'm assuming that's not what you're here for. So moderate weight gain, muscle gain, take your body weight times the number 18. Or this one, one second. If you're here for muscle gain, I recommend to start on the lower end and go up. So the opposite of fat loss, right? Where I say start your calories higher and then you can always drop. Muscle gain, I'd always start lower on the tier and go up if you're not gaining muscle, right? Extreme weight gain, take your body weight times 19. Is everybody good with that? Okay. Anybody need any help with that? Good? Yay? Okay. Easy enough. So that would be your caloric intake. Now, it's not 100% perfect, right? But it gives you a starting point for you to start with, and you can always adjust up or down based on that. Okay, so now what you're going to do is we're going to look at our protein target. Okay, again, it's the most important macro for muscle recovery, keeping you full, especially if you're in a calorie deficit. So we're going to set your how many grams per day, and then if somebody likes more the percentages, I can teach you how to do that. But again, I don't want to complicate it or make it too confusing. So for everybody, I don't care what your goal is, at least to start. Okay, if it is to build muscle, you can go a little bit higher, but everybody take your current body weight and times it by 0.8. So if I'm 200 pounds, that's 160, right? Essentially 80% of your weight is what you're trying to find. Everybody good with that? Okay, that is how many grams of protein we're going to recommend to do that. You can go as low as 0.6 and still like be okay. I just highly, highly, highly recommend everybody sitting in here to try to aim for 0.8. If you want to build muscle, I'd probably shoot for 1 times your body weight. So if you're 200 pounds, 200 grams. Okay. Before I move on, does anybody like doing that has tracked before, that has some experience, that understands what I'm referring to? Does anybody like more like the percentage of their calories for protein versus grams? Everybody's good with grams? It's okay if you're one person and want to know a percentage. I can teach you how to do it, but everybody wants to know the grams? Okay, easy enough. I won't even talk about the other way then. All right, now carbs and fat fits around what you like and enjoy. Okay. Okay. Once your calories and protein are set, carbs and fats just fill in the rest. You don't need to fear either one of those. On your sheets, I have examples of like high carb days, higher fat days, lower carb days, what have you. You get to choose kind of what feels best. It's all relative to you. Okay. I'm going to give you kind of some like baselines, but I highly encourage nobody actually even worry about the carbs and fats right now. Okay. So again, I know it's hard to read, guys, and I apologize. Is if your goal is fat loss and you prefer more carbohydrates, right? You just like more carb-based foods versus like fat-based foods, right? You're gonna what you could aim for is 40% of your calories coming from protein, 35 from fat, 25% of your calories coming from fat. Okay, and I'll show you kind of how we'll find that stuff here. If you like more fatty foods, if you're like I love bacon, stuff like that, then you can flip it. You can do 40 protein, only 20% carbs, 40% fat. Okay. If your goal is muscle gain, I recommend 30 protein, 45% carbs, 25% fat. Maintenance, kind of have a balance, 30 protein, 40 carbs, 30 fat. Again, I wouldn't worry too much about hitting all of those numbers. I would just really focus on the calories and protein. But what I wanted to show you at the very least is, and this should be on your sheet too. If you had you either had the fat loss kind of or the muscle maintenance phase, is you can do whatever you want. Majority of people that walk through these doors, if you hit your calories and your protein goal based on where you're at, and you might have to manipulate your calories a little bit here and there, right? You will probably get all the goals you want, right? Without even ever looking at your carbs and fats. Okay. So now sometimes, not always, okay? Because what you'll find is you don't really ever want carbs and fats both high. And you'll see this on here, right? You'll usually have one high or one lower. They're like, think of like a teeter-totter, right? When one goes up, you got to drop the other one. Keep protein static, right? So that's why it's like choose one or the other. If you tend to like more fattier foods, I would aim more towards that. If you tend to like more carbs and sugars, I would aim more towards that, and just make sure you're hitting your carbs and or your protein and calories. Make sense?
Okay.
Yes.
It's strange that if you're trying to gain muscle, it'd be 30% protein, but you're trying to lose fat in your body. I would think it'd be.
Your calories are so high.
Like,
Yeah. So think of this. So think of if so I'll go back to this really quick because that's a really good question, Steve. So say I'm 200 pounds. Okay. And I want to gain muscle. Let's just say for the sake of this, I'm at 18. Okay. 18. That means I'm eating 3,600 calories. If I take 30% of that, 4 and do the calories, I'm hitting 270 grams of protein. I'm getting so much protein, right? So when you're trying to gain muscle, I wouldn't worry too much of like the percentage with that because you're hitting so many calories.
Say it again. How did you just figure out the protein?
Yeah, so and that's what I was saying. If you want to know percentages, I can teach you this. So every gram of protein is 4 calories, right? So if I'm eating 30 for the sake of this, I'm eating 3,600 calories, my goal based on that, right? To gain muscle. So what I'm going to do if I take 30% of that, so 3,600 get 30% is 1,080. Okay, that's 1,000 calories, 1,080 calories coming from protein. So there's grams of protein, or calories there, right? So I need to divide it by 4 to get the calories per protein, right? That would equate to 270. So I'm gonna get plenty of protein, right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's a really good question because a lot of people that try to gain muscle, they run into that, right? And they're like, "Well, I thought I need more protein. Why is my percentage lower?" You're gonna get plenty of protein. 270 grams of protein. My body can't actually use any more, right? If I eat 400 grams of protein, my body's not gonna use it. I'm just gonna kind of waste it.
I heard somewhere where they recommend only eating a certain amount of protein at a time.
I would say anywhere in the 50 to 70 gram range, right? Some people say 50 to 60 grams per meal, right? Or per every few hours. Yeah, like I wouldn't try to do 150 grams in one sitting. You know what I mean? It is better to space it out for sure. Now they don't know exactly how much your body can, and everybody's gonna be different, right? Like you might absorb 70 grams at a time. I might only absorb 50. All of my meals, I am trying to gain still a little bit of muscle. All of my meals are usually between 50 and 65 grams each meal. Unless it's a snack, then it might be 20 to 40.
3 meals and 2 protein foods.
That's usually the easiest, right? It keeps you full longer, keeps you more satiated, keeps your metabolism going. Ideally, regardless, whenever you have your first meal, you should always try to aim to eat something every 3 to 4 hours from there, right? A lot of people are like, oh, well, what about fasting? Yeah, but if you go fasting, meal, like that's not the way to do it. That's too much ups and downs, right? Your blood sugar goes up and down. It tells your body to store body fat because it doesn't know when your next meal is, all that stuff. So yeah, it doesn't have to be exactly that, right? But I would just, the main thing is once you break your fast, every 3 to 4 hours, have some type of food, especially protein, right?
Come to a class in the morning and only have coffee, or do you highly discourage that?
I prefer not to. I recommend not to. I actually did a study a while back in the gym here. It was a Tuesday morning. I did the same exact raw workout on an empty stomach, same exact raw workout, same parameters. I slept the same. I wore the same clothes. Like I literally tried to have everything exactly the same, right? I worked out at the exact same time. The following week, and I ate before. I burnt like 250 more calories in my workout when I ate. Right. So for one, you're going to burn a heck of a lot more calories, get a lot more out of your workout. You're going to be able to push harder, gain more muscle. That's going to help your metabolism. But also, when you work out, your body goes in what's called a catabolic state. Okay. Your body starts breaking down your muscle for energy, right? It literally starts to eat it, right? So if you don't have any fuel in you to utilize that, your body's going to start breaking yourself down, right? Highly recommend before you eat, if you can have 20 to 30 grams of light protein before would be ideal. Even you early AM risers, right? Ideally, like if you do a pre-workout or water, like have a little bit of protein powder in there if you need to, or a little Greek yogurt, something like that. I would highly recommend that. Now, if you're doing a low intensity thing, like a brisk walk, that is okay to do on an empty stomach. Okay?
Yeah, so I was gonna ask that, because I'm getting you started raw 4 or 5 years ago, you always recommended like a little light protein bar or something before the workout. But over the years, we've switched more to a drink or something like that. So what do you recommend in between a bar or a drink?
I think either one's fine. Any one of those is gonna be okay. I would just say at the very least have protein, okay? And I would try not to have too much fat around your workout before or after. Because fat slows the absorption down of protein and carbs. So then your body doesn't utilize that food like it should, right? So if you do an intense workout, you want more faster acting carbohydrates, which is things like bananas, like higher sugar kind of content stuff. And then like a lighter protein, right? So whether that's a bar, as long as it doesn't have too much fat, right, it's fine. Whether that's Greek yogurt, protein shake, something like that. Protein shake is just light, easy, lower calorie, higher protein, so it just works well usually.
Does a creatine drink have, is it higher in protein? What does a creatine drink do before a workout?
Creatine fills your so your muscles use creatine. Everybody has creatine in their body, right? So your body utilizes creatine and it helps you produce what's called ATP, which is the initial energy system that your body uses, especially in high intensity or strength training. So for ease of understanding, if you are doing a bench press and you're using 40s, right? And normally you can only do 10 reps, you might be able to do 11 or 12. Right? Or you're going to be able to push faster or harder or push a little bit longer. So say you're doing high intensity and normally you start fatiguing at 20 seconds. You might not fatigue till 25, 30. Right? It just gives your muscles more fuel, and that quick energy system, which is usually the first 0 to 10 seconds, just gives you more fuel of that. Right? And it fills your muscles with water so you can perform better there. Right? So you can get strong, you can be a lot stronger in your workouts, have more endurance, all that stuff. Did that answer that?
Yes.
Creatine is a little different than protein though, right? So before my workouts, I do the Prestige pre-workout, and I also do a scoop of creatine. I do before my workout.
How much?
How much what?
How much creatine?
I do 5 grams.
Right.
Okay, but the intra also has creatine in it as well. So I might be doing probably more than I need to. You know what I mean? So like say you did both. If you did like our intra and that, you could probably do like 2 or 3 grams before, and then you get the intra after. Creatine does not make you jittery. No.
Cause when I started, I did the whole food strict.
Yeah.
Nothing. The plan we're going over today allows for a little processing, like you
Yeah.
did a protein bar.
Yeah.
So I could do like chicken sausage.
Yeah.
Things that are,
Yeah. So you can use this acronym. If it fits your macros, you can eat it. If it fits your numbers, you can have as much of it as you want, right? So, and this is why I like this process, right? Because you can literally eat anything you want, but you have like the cap on it, right? The restriction. So it allows you to kind of be flexible, right? But also keep it under control, right? You know what I mean? So if you're like, I'm going to a party tonight. I want to have a couple drinks. I want to do this. I want to have a piece of cake, whatever it is. Okay, just adjust your macros the rest of the day to get your protein and calories, right? Maybe you just do 3 protein shakes every day, all day. You hit your protein there and you can just eat whatever you want then, right? As long as it's within your goals, Way more flexible. That's why I like it. You know what I mean? You got a question, Mike? Yeah, go ahead. I know you've been tracking for a while. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. And why whey protein in particular is very effective, right? For one, it's easy, right? You don't have to cook it up, anything there. But it's faster release, so it gets your muscles a lot quicker and easier than like a chicken breast or something like that, right? I'm not saying just rely on whey protein, not by any means, right? But it's just very easy for a snack or before or after your workout. That's why it's probably the most optimal thing you could ever do, whether fat loss or muscle gain, is have whey protein around your workouts, right? So that's great advice.
I use my thing now and I don't take the.
Yeah.
So then if we do the percentages according to.
You don't need the premium to do that, by the way. I can show you though. Why don't we do this? I'm gonna take somebody to use their actually do it with them. Can I just do yours? Will that answer it? Okay, so you'll just be one of my guinea pigs. Fair? All right, so I'm gonna kind of dive a little bit deeper into it and do some actual examples with you guys and just like show you real time. Before I get to that, if you're interested in doing it with me, even if I don't use you as an example, I'd highly recommend everybody, unless you have another app you want to use, that's completely fine. If you can, download MyFitnessPal really quick while I'm getting to that part. So if you don't have MyFitness on your phone, download MyFitnessPal. And there is a QR code on the back of that blue and white sheet to just go right to your app store too. But when you're kind of doing this, guys, how you kind of do this is you have your calories, you have your protein, okay? From there, you just pick the foods you already like, okay? Figure out your portion sizes, have protein at each meal, 3 main meals and 1 or 2 snacks like we talked about, right, is ideal, okay? And when in doubt, I already kind of said this, don't worry so much about the carbs and fats. Just focus on the calories, or just focus on doing the calories at first and don't even worry about anything else, right? And then when you're ready, add protein. So we have like a one-on-one nutrition program here that we do with clients that want that. And we do like the first 2 weeks, they have to master just doing calories. We don't even talk about macros. Then it's like, let's add in protein, right? They have to do that and do it consistently for 2 weeks before we move on to anything else, right? So for you guys, do that. And when in doubt, at the very least, if you start doing this, you're like, oh, it's too complicated, I don't like doing this, blah, 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 whatever it is. If you just did this, if you chose whole foods 80% of the time or more, you will probably get pretty good results, right? And when I say whole foods, I mean strictly like these things. Now, it seems very restrictive, and it is, right? But like, if you're like, I don't even want to count, I don't want to do that. If you can eat just this, you'll probably lose weight, right? Or eat a bunch, so meat, fish, eggs, fruits, veggies, right? Very simple, very easy, not necessarily easy to execute, right? Because there are things here, but stats show like within a short period, you can lose 2% of your body weight just sticking to those without portions, without calories, without any of that, because you're going to get so full, you're going to be satiated, you're going to get a ton of nutrients, right? So like processed foods, the one downfall, right, is they're not very calorie dense, right? So like you can eat some and you're like, I'm hungry again 20 minutes later. You know what I mean? Where this, like you eat a ribeye steak, like you're probably not going to be wanting another ribeye steak, So when in doubt, throughout this whole presentation, you get home and you're doing this and it's a couple weeks later, if you want, just do this, right? Just do that, okay?
Whole egg, not egg white.
I would do, in this scenario, yes, whole eggs.
If I can have watermelon,
Correct, yes. Hey, as long as it fits, right? As long as it fits. Okay, so I want to do kind of an example with you guys here. So, did everybody download the app? Okay, I'm gonna have you kind of do it with me, but like you just kind of do your own version, or I can help you with portions. So, Joe, you're gonna be with me first, okay? So, what can I ask what your numbers are? Calories and protein?
well, that's the thing, like, it doesn't work, because if I put calories 1,400. And then protein should be more like. That's where like right now it's calculating, if I put percentage, it's coming to 140 grams, which is more than. I think I need.
Where are you getting the 140 grams? From our chart here?
No, from.
Yeah, disregard what MyFitnessPal. What did our chart tell you to do?
Wow,
Okay.
but I usually do more than.
Okay, that's fine. We'll say 120, right? Just for the sake of this conversation. Okay. So that's your goal, and that's the only thing we're trying to accomplish. Okay. So while you're doing this, we're gonna build out like a breakfast, we're gonna build out a lunch, we're gonna build out a dinner, and then any snacks we might need. Okay. So go to.
I'm in the goals.
So, okay, if you want to go over goals, and again, there's a video in the QR code on how to do that, how to set it up. But if I'm in MyFitnessPal, so what she's talking about is how to set like the goals for the numbers, right? Now, for you, you can put your, are you looking at percentages?
That's what I have to do.
Yeah, to figure out what your goal is. Yeah, I'm waiting for my thing to load, so. Okay, so when you go in here, if you're looking at. If you'll get pop-ups all the time for premium, you do not need a premium. Now, if you like to like scan QR codes, so it plugs it in for you automatically, that one I think you do need the premium now. But if I go to more, okay, the bottom, okay, bottom right, and I go to goals. Okay. So the three little dots, more, and then go to goals. You see that? Bottom right, the three little dots. Unless your phone might be different than mine, but everybody find that?
Yeah, oh, that's right.
And then nutrition goals, you'll see calorie, carbs, protein, fat goals. You can click on there. Okay, and then type in your calories.
Where it says calorie, carb, protein.
Yeah, just type in calories to start. Okay, and then what I'm gonna have you do is type. So everybody might have to do a little bit of math. So get your calculator ready. So for Rochelle, if Rochelle's goal is 120 grams, okay, we're gonna do the math that I was telling with Steve. Okay, so what I want you to do is take your protein goal times the number 4. Rochelle, do that and then yell out what yours is. 480. Yeah. So Rochelle needs to eat 480 calories from protein minimum. Okay. So now to get the percentage, you take 480, that number, divided by your calorie goal. So 480 for you, Rochelle, divided by 1400.
Like 34.
Okay, so change your protein to 34%. Yeah, 35%. And then you can adjust carbs or fats to fill however you want, right? Did you guys do that? Does that make sense?
No, I got that.
Okay, are you guys at this spot?
You're forcing protein to be.
What you want it, and then you can adjust carbs or fat. If you're even worried about having the goal part, you know what I mean?
I have my calories in it, but that's it. Grams of it. A lot of carbs.
So you did carbs are good. You work out plenty. You're fine. Okay, that's okay. So is everyone at here that wants to do this? Okay. So type in your calories. Okay. And then to get your protein percentage, okay, take whatever your grams of protein was. Everybody with me?
Yep.
Okay. Times that by the number 4. 4 calories for every 1 gram, right? So we're going to get how many calories of protein we need essentially. Okay. Everybody got that number?
Yeah.
Divide that number by your calorie goal.
Okay.
What do you have there?
0.3611.
So that's 36%.
Okay.
So I would do 35%. That's your protein percentage for that. Did everyone do that? So yeah, you should get like a 0.3 something or 0.2 something, 0.4 something, whatever.
That's my use of protein?
That's the percentage of your calories coming from protein. Does that make sense? Once it's in there, you won't have to do that math anymore. Okay?
So you adjust to.
So you just do goal.
Right, you can do whatever you want. Cool. So
It should pop up to where it's like a little scrolling thing here, right? So just change your percentage of protein and then you'll have it won't let you save it until you're at 100%, right? So then you'll need to adjust your fats or carbs based on what you want. So just get it. I would say if you like more carbs, get your fats to around 20-25%. Okay. If you like more fats, get your carbs around 20-25%. Okay. Anybody lost? Everybody good?
But why does it come up with my percentage total is 100%? So I need
Yeah,
to
so
change that.
I would either do If you want, I would actually do 4.5. It's gotta be equal 100%.
So. You don't need. Okay.
Again, we're not overly worried about your fats and carbs anyways, right? It just has to equal 100% or it's not gonna let you save it. Everybody good? Does anyone need help with that? It's okay if you do. That's what we're here for, okay? Okay, so we have our goals, right? So now when you type in your stuff, everybody go out of there. Okay, if you have your goals set up. Okay, go out of there, stay in the more section, okay, or the settings or whatever. You should see a tab that says nutrition. Does everybody see that? And again, I have a video on that. There's a QR code showing you all this too, right? So you can always reference back. But so when you open up nutrition, you should see a few different tabs: overview, calories, nutrients, macros at the top. You guys see that?
Yes.
Okay. So you can change the view to be today or a weekly view. Okay. And then if you see over down below it, you should see goal, and that should be the percentages you just made. You see that? Again, all you can, well, I don't know which one. Did yours pop up macros?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it automatically pops up macros. So
Your goal diamond.
You should see it in percentages there. Now, if you like grams,
Yes.
then go to nutrients. You'll see your goals in grams variation.
Okay.
You see that? You see protein, carbs, fiber, and then down a little bit fat. When you go to nutrients, it's okay if you're lost, guys. That's what I'm here for. Anyone need help finding that? So everybody here said they like grams versus percentages. So I wouldn't even look at the macro tab. Okay, just go to the nutrient tab. Okay, I'll put the slideshow there showing this. The nutrient tab, you'll see what your goal is in grams right there. And then every time you eat or put something in here, it'll show total. That's what you've eaten for that day or week or whatever your view is. Everybody good? If you want to see calories, you can click the calorie tab, and that'll show your total calories there.
I have a problem. When we calculated protein is body weight times 0.08, I came up with 130.
Yep.
But what it's showing here, my goal is only 6.
Sometimes it takes a second to reload.
And that calories not what it's.
Yeah, it must not have saved.
Read trackers and stuff like that.
Yeah, you might have to go out. If you notice it didn't save your normal numbers, you might have to exit out, come back in. Sometimes it takes a second, or maybe it didn't save. You might have to go back in there and do that.
I don't remember what you told me. Percentages.
I think you're 35, and then I think you did like 20 fat and 45 carbs. I think it was 40, 25.
40 protein, 25 carbs. 20
I think it was like 40 carbs, 40 or 45 carbs. They just got to equal 100. Okay. Anybody need help with that? Is that clear? Okay. What I'm going to have you do, go to diary at the bottom tab there. And it should pop up where it says today, calories remaining, breakfast, lunch. Everybody see that? Okay. We're going to build out your meal plan to do this. This is the number one key to being successful in this. Okay. Don't track as you go. Feed your phone before you feed your face. Okay. I recommend the morning of or the night before, get an idea of what you're going to eat, put it in the app, see if it hits your numbers then. And if not, then make the change then. Because if we wait till the end of the day, we're like, shoot, I didn't hit it. Of course you're not going to hit it. Nobody's going to know exactly how much to eat, all that, until you've done this a long time maybe. But you need to do it ahead of time so you can make the adjustments before you eat the food, right? If you go through your day and you're like, oh, shoot, I only got 90 grams of protein, but I'm already at my calories. Well, nothing you can do now, right? You're either going to go over calories or you're going to be under in protein. So feed your phone before you feed your face. Plan it out. Figure out at least somewhat of an idea of what you're going to eat. Put it into the app. Did I hit my numbers? Yes or no? If not, what do I need to change?
The hard part is some foods are proteins and carbs. Like
For sure.
if I just had to do straight protein, straight or
Yeah.
straight fats, it would be so easy.
So what you'll find, especially doing this, is if you run into, because usually it's fats and proteins together, right? Is if your calories are like you're struggling to get your protein in within your calories, the protein you're eating is probably too fatty. You probably just need leaner protein. That's where like, okay, maybe you do egg whites versus egg yolks. You know what I mean? Okay, because that's usually the issue, right? So, or if it is carb heavy, it's maybe too many processed protein. Like you're doing like protein bars or something like that that has a lot of carbs in there. Again, we're not worried about carbs or fats, but it's if you can't hit this and this to match, then it just means we're just probably choosing the wrong foods for protein.
So really focus on the protein and the calories.
Correct.
And don't worry.
I wouldn't
my
worry about the
proteins and carbs.
Correct.
Not
Correct.
really
As
my
long as
daily
these
goal.
numbers match, you're good.
Okay.
Right? Don't worry about where it's coming from, anything there. But if it's not, it just means we probably need to adjust the types of proteins we're doing.
Okay.
Everybody clear on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, for now we can try like with the processed chicken.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. Yeah, for sure. I do chicken sausage pretty much every day.
Okay.
Every day I have chicken sausage and oatmeal with protein in it.
That, okay.
Works for me.
Wait, you have protein? You have-
I do protein in my oatmeal, yeah, every day. For like 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Because I love it. It tastes good. It tastes like when I was a kid, like flavored oatmeal, you know what I mean? Which I always loved.
So this
Without the
is
sugar,
really
20.
because when we met the last time, I could not figure out how to get all of these. to
Yeah,
line
you're trying all of
up.
it, right? That's hard. You know what I mean? That's why I say just do these two.
And I would, it's like a puzzle, and I was literally like trying to figure out, to meet my goals, I was learning what to eat from that,
Yeah.
and then I would weigh my food.
Which happens, which is okay. Yeah.
And I picked certain things, I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome,
Yeah.
that's giving me so many.
Yeah.
no, and
15 grams of protein for 90 calories. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And that's what it is. That's actually what we're going to do now, really quick. Rochelle, are you ready for me? Did we solve your thing?
Yes. I have to enforce it, but like, it's not matching the synthetics here, but now that I.
Which percentages? Oh, I wouldn't worry about those percent. That's just like an example of like rough idea of where you want to be. You know what I mean? I wouldn't overly worry about that. Like you probably could do a good like 40-30-30 split and be fine.
I was making my calories lower than what.
Yeah.
I.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. So, all right, are you ready for me? All right, so everybody go to diary. We're gonna build out a meal plan for
You
you.
need help. I need fire. It's like a fire.
Okay, so in diary, you should see everyone see breakfast.
Yeah, it's just.
yeah.
And now it's I think today.
So I mean, I think it's going to change here. That's what it is. Okay, so just click on breakfast.
And now.
If you don't, guys, if you don't see diary at the bottom, then just click on add symbol. Okay?
Then it brings up your screen.
So if you hit the thing and it says log food, just click log food and you should have a thing with a search bar at the top. And then it'll say like barcode scan, voice log, meal scan, something like that. Does everybody see that?
Can you, her layout's very different than mine.
Yeah, so yours kind of pops up already.
Oh, it's add food, right? Is that what you're
So really.
Every day.
But you look at the app, this is log food and then add.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so Rochelle, what are things you like to eat for breakfast? We're gonna build Rochelle's and yours to start. Okay, eggs. So let's do, how many eggs do you normally do about?
I do egg whites or savory. So I'll do like.
Okay. See how she did that, right? She knows she likes maybe some fattier foods later, so she's like, well, I'm gonna make this meal leaner protein, right? A little fat. 3/4 cup. Okay, so type in egg whites. Okay, and then you should see options for egg whites. You guys see that? Okay.
Yeah.
Don't click the plus sign yet. click on it. You said how much you normally do?
So in many ways, it's like.
Okay, so does everyone see like serving size, all that you can adjust?
Yeah.
So click on serving size, if yours allows it. It might only say tablespoons. The one I clicked on only said tablespoons. Okay, choose what size. If you have a cup, let's just for simple math, let's just do a single cup. So you're eating a cup of egg whites today. Do you guys see that?
No, but that's all I got.
Look on that one. If there- no. So, okay, so if it allows you, put a cup. Does it allow everyone to do a cup? If it doesn't, do 16 tablespoons. Same thing. Yeah, I was a butcher before this, actually. Yeah. I'm Joe's. Yeah.
Mine just says one large, or kind of just giving me larger
It doesn't matter. So go there.
and then.
No, not yet. So don't log it yet. Don't log it. I want to teach you how to adjust the serving sizes.
Okay.
So either make it one cup. Who can't do one cup? Can everyone choose a cup? If not, you can probably use a different one and it might work out. It doesn't quite matter. Just make sure it actually has stuff in there. So make it a cup and then do one serving.
Yep.
Okay?
And then lock.
Everybody understand that?
Yeah.
Okay?
Nice. So I've used a lot, I mean, you guys are looking up, you can look up specific, brand of the food.
Yes, you can.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm just trying to keep it as easy as possible right now, but yeah, if there's like a certain actual brand, you can look up the brand and probably find it.
And that's more, there's people that put things here that's incorrect, so.
For sure.
That's two eggs, I just do one egg, I hit it, I log it, then I log it a second time. Oh, yeah, change it by your serving size.
Yeah, it's on that page.
I don't see this.
Here, let me show you. You were on it before. So it's on there, right there, white, and then here. So
Oh, serving.
yeah, with that, mark it up.
My phone.
And then say this one serving. So it's like- Does that make sense?
Yeah. got it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we have a cup of egg whites on our meal plan. What else are we eating today? Feta on it? Okay, how much? Okay, so search feta cheese. Okay. Click on it before you log it, change the adjustments. Now, if you eat these kind of foods regularly, it'll save in your thing, save the serving size. You can even save it as a meal. Again, I gave you a video on that, so I'm not going to do that today. Okay, but they're in the QR code. It teaches you how to do that. So you can just click a button. Oh, this is my normal breakfast meal, right? So yeah, so feta, say you go 1 tablespoon and change it to 2 servings. Right? Make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so now then we add our feta there. Okay, and then what? You have more carbs, so let's choose a carb. Okay, so type in Ezekiel bread. Okay, so you might see bread, Ezekiel, 1 slice, 80 calories. How many are we having? Just 1. So if it's just 1, you can click add. Okay, so really quick, you should see. I didn't add all the stuff I should have. You should see it in your breakfast, these 3 items. Okay, if you go over just to check, you can scroll down or click the more button and click nutrition. Both of them will take you there. Okay, if you scroll down and click nutrition, you should see under calories and nutrients what you have so far. You guys see that?
Yep.
Rochelle, what are you at so far?
We don't have 16 grams of protein.
Yeah, you probably don't have a lot with that meal.
No, it's 253. And then
How many protein do you have?
You have to go, I can sideways above it, so it's 33 grams of protein, 15 carbs, 4 fat.
You might not eat a cup. A cup should be probably around 30.
Okay.
So, okay, so say for this, right? We're not looking at the fats or carbs. She started at 14 minus 250, right? So she's at 1150, 120 minus 30 with 90 grams left that she's got to get today, right? So if we go to lunch, okay, let's choose some type of lunch, okay? So we'll go back to our normal diary or click the log food, the plus button, right? What are we gonna eat for lunch today? And if somebody else wants to throw out examples, you can.
Tuna.
Tuna, okay, good. Tuna's very lean, high protein, low calories. Good option. Okay, let's do what's those brand like Star Kiss or whatever. So we'll just all do it together. Star Kiss, tuna pouch. I'm gonna do the jalapeno because I like spicy, right? So I say you get the pouch, right? I don't even like tuna, I like those. 70 calories, one pouch. We'll just make it easy. Does everyone see that? Star Kiss. Okay, pouch, jalapeno, whatever flavors they got. Okay, add that to your day. Add it to lunch. Okay,
I thought you liked the tie.
I do like that one better.
That's what.
Yeah, that was the only one that came up. So, okay, what carb do we want to have with that, or fat, or whatever, however we want to do it, or what? I guess what else do we want to have with it? Ezekiel bread, or why don't we do something different? What about like a tortilla, right? Just so it's something a little slightly different. You can have whatever you want. Hey, Tim,
This is so
If,
different. This is like scary.
It's a little bit. It takes more work. That's why I don't always start with that, right? Because people get kind of like, oh, this is too much. You know what I
It's
mean?
too much
But it's
freedom.
very flexibility.
It's too much freedom.
Is it though? But this is sustainable. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it's gonna allow you to hit your goals the right way.
Okay.
And then what we can teach you is how to reverse diet back to your maintenance goal so you can keep the weight off, which is key. This helps you more than anything to do it that way. So okay, so tortilla. Okay, let's say 2 tortillas. Okay,
Are you doing flour or corn?
whatever you want to do. Hey, if them. Is that how you say? It's flung, yeah. Okay, Rochelle, did you do those two? I'm gonna use you as you're just gonna be our dummy for it. You're not a dummy, by the way.
Smart. Yeah. Then go check. nutrition.
Or did anybody else put all that stuff in so far and they have the numbers?
I put in 2 tortillas. Yeah, I have. Do you want me to go to nutrients to see what it is? Or-
Yeah, but did you fix your,
I did 2 tortillas.
no, but I mean,
and
did
2
you fix your 1 cup of egg whites earlier?
No, I did not.
I just want to get like the same so we have,
Okay, you want the
Consistency.
percent?
yeah.
Have somebody else do it, because I couldn't find it.
That and just the tuna and the 2 tortillas.
Yeah, and then go back to your nutrition and see where we at calorie wise so far for the day. Total calories for the day?
Just it's so.
Tuna, 2 tortillas, and the breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're at how many calories? We'll just say 450. How much protein? Okay, so she's building this out, right? She had 14. She's used 450. So after lunch, say she hasn't had any snacks yet. She has 950 calories left, and she has what is that? 165 or 65? 65 grams of protein left. Okay, you see that? Okay, let's just do dinner really quick. Let's keep it easy. Let's say we have a chicken breast and a medium sweet potato. So, Rochelle, if you can do me a favor, plug that in. I didn't tell you that. Is everyone getting this? Is anybody lost at where we're at?
What was it? Chicken?
Yeah, chicken breast, let's say 4 ounces if you're a woman, we'll do 6 to 8 ounces if you're a guy. Or if you're a woman trying to build, I would do 6 to 8.
So for anybody who's new to private stuff, you put it sideways and we'll scroll to the bottom, you'll see the totals and the goals and what's remaining. Calories and
Guys, so how many total calories are we at here?
now system,
Okay, she's at 700 calories with her 3 main meals. How much protein have you gotten?
80.
Okay, 84. So she has what? Wait, that's what you've used, or that's what you have left?
That's what I.
Used. Okay, so she has 700 calories still. Okay, and she has 35 grams of protein. Okay, let's do this. Let's say you have 2 Prestige protein shakes throughout the day. Okay, so while she's plugging that in, for breakfast, she had a cup of egg whites, Ezekiel bread. Okay, do we have anything else in there? Feta cheese, right? Put hot sauce, something like that on there if you want. No calories. Okay. Now you start adding sauces, that changes things, right? You can do it, but IFO, right? It's got to fit your macros. Okay. So for lunch, we had the jalapeno tuna with 2 tortillas. Okay, maybe some lettuce, veggies on there. I don't always add that veggies if it's like peppers, stuff like that, 'cause it's not gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna be a couple, like 10, 20, 30 calories.
Except sweet peppers, I found out are.
They can be, yeah. So, and then for dinner, she had chicken with a sweet potato, maybe broccoli, whatever. 2 shakes. Okay, where are you at so far?
So now I'm at the calorie or the protein goal. The 24.
Okay, and where are you at calorie wise?
50.
Okay, so she has 450 calories left. She's hit her protein goal. She doesn't have to have any more protein. Okay? You can have anything you want. That's 450 calories.
Potato chips?
You can have potato chips, you can have wine, you can have pizza, you can have whatever you want. She doesn't have to worry about getting any more protein in. She's already hit her number, right? Yeah. That's why you eat your egg whites, right? Because she ate her egg whites, it gave her more flexibility. If she did eggs, maybe she only has 200. Like a full egg, maybe she only has 200 calories left, right? So the more strict you are with like lean proteins and stuff like that throughout the day, because you can see like this is a pretty clean diet, right? If you put cream in your coffee, you can do it, but it's going to take away from your ability to have 450 calories and eat whatever you want. That's a lot of calories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's only eating 1,400 calories. It's not like she's eating a ton of food, you know? Does that make sense? Right? So after everything she ate pretty clean throughout the day. Maybe she had a party later or whatever, an event for work, and she knew there might be some drinks there, right? Like, it's going to be good. I'm not saying Rochelle's an alcoholic. I'm not saying that. I'm just giving an example. I would say it for anybody, right? So, but you see how that works? This allows you to be very flexible in your eating patterns, right? But you have to be precise. You got to measure it. Remember what we started with? This could be off, especially if you don't measure it by 25, 30, 35%. Where now all of a sudden this isn't actually 450. You're actually at your calories because you didn't actually measure it. Think how that looks about, right? Yeah.
So I know you said it doesn't come out perfect to meet the percentages, not worry about all that.
Yes.
Is there a preference or suggestion in having protein, carb, and fat at of all 3 meals, or not necessarily, just as long as you have them?
It's better.
For satiety and.
Exactly. And just spacing out nutrients, right? Carbs are better earlier in the day. Okay, because your body utilizes the carbohydrates more effectively, right? Versus like saving all your carbs later in the day, you don't need it as much. Now, if you work out in the evening, that's a little bit different. You know what I mean? But is everybody clear on this process?
So you
Okay.
can have 1 meal all protein and a few vegetables, and another meal all carbs and vegetables.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter too much. Yeah. So let's say for the sake of this, and let's plug it into your phones really quick. Let's go to the next day. Okay, so let's go to tomorrow, like you're plugging it in for tomorrow. Okay, you should have a fresh sheet, anything there. Let's say for breakfast, you had 2 Oikos 000 things, right? Whatever those are called. So like it pops up Oikos 000, each is in here, and it'll say like 150 grams. That's like one of those little like, little yogurt thing container. What do you call them?
Yogurt, yeah.
Yeah. What would you call that? Yeah. Yogurt, duh. Let's say we have two of those. Okay. Let's just keep it simple. Let's say we had, again, we'll just go back to the tuna packets because it's quick and easy. Okay, we already plugged it in. Let's say we have 2 tuna packets for lunch. So we have, right?
Oh, that's our whole breakfast is the oikos.
Just that. Yep. We're running out the door. Got to get something in.
Go to lunch and a tuna pack. Just one?
Just one.
He's gonna have 2 of these sessions,
I'm gonna be-
one for the accountants.
I know, for sure. It's complicated, you know, at least at first. Once you get in the swing of it. Yeah. Okay, everyone plugging that in? Let's say for dinner, let's say we have a 4-ounce tenderloin or filet with a cup of broccoli. I'm not plugging. And then we'll say for a snack, let's say we have a Quest protein bar.
Oh, I love those.
Or if you like chips, do Quest protein chips. If you watched my daughter's reel the other day, that's what she used.
Very cute.
She's so cute.
It was right, yeah. She's like, yeah, can I do a cheese bowl challenge? I was like, I don't know. What's a cheese bowl challenge? I don't know what
Which
this is.
is better?
Taste, I like the Baby Bell one, but the cheese pull, the cheese stick one. That worked better.
Wait, say this again?
So
All
For cheese, what?
breakfast, we had 2 000 Oikos yogurt. Lunch, we had 2 pouches of tuna. Dinner, we had a filet 4-ounce with a cup of broccoli. And then I'll give you the option. If you're more chippy kind of person, you had Quest chips for lunch or for snack, or a protein bar. We'll do Quest just because it's quick, easy. You can find it easily. Quest protein bar. Doesn't matter flavor. Did anyone do all that? Plug it in.
Yes.
Okay, where are we at calorie wise? 650 calories. How much protein? Okay, 100. Okay, so if you did that, if you're Rochelle, 1400 with 1,220 grams of protein, she just needs to get 20 more grams of protein somewhere, and she has, you know, whatever that is, like 600, 750. She has 750 calories she can use for the day, right? But she's got to get 20 more grams of protein still, but she literally can eat 750 grams of Oreos if she wants and still lose weight, right? If that's a weight loss goal. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying you're gonna be very healthy. I'm not saying that, right? Yeah.
You say you recommend a little brown.
Oh, that was something different. My daughter did like a reel with like I don't know, like almost like mozzarella sticks, but like a healthier version, you know. And she used 2 different types of cheeses.
See, I haven't done any cheese since I.
Feta's better. I like feta. Parmesan's good. I would just get, again, so you have more flexibility, get a lower fat version, right? Strictly for body composition. I'm not saying lower fat is the healthier option. Sometimes it is, not always though, right? Fats are good, you know. But I'm just teaching you different ways. So if you know you have a big event at night or whatever, you know it's very possible you're gonna pig out a little bit, right? Best bet is design the second meal plan we just did, right? Super lean, super low calorie, getting all your protein in early, and then you got all this to play with, right? Like how many glasses of wine is 750 calories?
Rochelle knows.
Yeah. 5, 6 glasses, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. I know precise. It is no. Does this make sense?
Yeah. And we can look at the other days, and we didn't have fat, but we had our protein and our calories in.
You're good. Yeah, you're good. It's mind-boggling, right? But it's great. Okay? So, how you kind of track it, use MyFitnessPal or something similar. Okay? You can scan barcodes, stuff like that. I think you need the premium for that one, though. Okay? Right now, we're just going to track calories, and then when you're ready, do protein. You know, if you can do it every day or do a few days a week, whatever it is, on your sheet, there should be a QR code for how-to videos, how to track, how to find stuff in there, how to add your goals. All that we did today is there's a video for that in that QR code as well. Okay. Different meal ideas or variations. Okay, quick start guide. You have different things in there. Okay. Now, the first week though, all I want you to do is just get in the habit of tracking your food. Don't even worry about your calories. Don't even worry about your protein. Just get in the habit of tracking it first. Fair? Okay. Here's where most people fall off in this. They skip meals and then they binge at night. They're tracking most days, but maybe not the weekends. Their evenings, they're not adding their little snacks or things like that. They're eyeballing instead of actually weighing or measuring their food, traveling, busy work days, travel after you eat, or tracking after you eat instead of before you eat, like I talked about, getting discouraged after one bad day, all or nothing, thinking like, oh, I'll just restart Monday, right? Your goal, start a random day, right? Don't start on Monday, start on a random day, okay? And just do it for 7 days. Don't worry about doing it for 12 weeks, 16 weeks, a year, anything like that. Just say, I'm going to do it for 7 days. I'm going to start on every day, right? And if you mess up, who cares? Remember I talked earlier, it's about a law of averages, right? Over time, you will be successful. I'll get to that in a second, actually. Quick, simple things, okay? Weekend rule, try to keep at least 2 of your meals normal, right? So you can have more flexibility, okay? It helps. Protein first, anchor every meal or snack that you have, ideally with protein, okay? That makes it a heck of a lot easier, okay? At least aim for 7 out of 10 days on plan. Plan once, repeat often. So like eat similar, if you're good with this, like make the same kind of meals because then it's already plugged in there. It's easy for you. You know what to expect. I already said this, top tip, feed your phone before your face. I got some of those in there. I'm not going to hit on there. If you're unsure, if you're out to eat or you're at a friend's party, whatever it is, and you're just not sure what things are and you don't have your scale with you, right? A quick rule of thumb, everybody take their palm, okay? That is roughly 4 to 6 ounces of protein, right?
2, right?
Yeah, depth, height, width, all of that. That's roughly 4 to 6 pounds. Now, if you're a female, ideally you should get 3 to 4 or 5 amounts of that of protein a day. So at the very least, even if you're not tracking, shoot for that, right? Guys, same thing, okay? But our hands generally are a little bit bigger, right? Which our hands are thicker, wider, longer, whatever, right? So that'll equate to maybe 6, 8 ounces, okay? Take your fist, okay? That's roughly a cup of food, right? So when in doubt, if you're like sitting there and there's rice on the table, you're like, I want to pull my measuring cup out. So I'm just going to put my hand next to it. Okay, that's about 2 of my fists, right? That's roughly 2 cups, right? Gives you an idea. Fat is about a tablespoon. Now, remember how I said calories or protein is 4 calories per 1 gram? Carbs are the same. Fat is 9 calories per 1 gram. It's over double the amount of calories per gram, which means your fat is going to eat into this very quickly, right? So if you're leaning towards fattier cuts of meat, right? Think like ribeye, right? Yeah, ribeye, salmon, even nuts, right? Nut butters. A lot of people are like, oh, well, it's protein, but it's gonna skyrocket this at a very little amount of this, right? So again, if you're noticing, man, I'm eating all this protein, and I'm hitting my protein, my calories going way over. You're probably just eating too fatty of protein, right? Not that it's bad. Salmon's not bad for you. It just makes this a little bit harder. So if you love salmon, you want to eat it, great. You just probably got to be leaner elsewhere, right?
Oreos.
Yeah, then you can have your Oreos, okay? You should also have resources. So in the My Accountability app, okay, you know where the groups are? Okay, if you click on the content or the educational content group or whatever, it's like a little apple. There's so many resources in there and a lot of it on some of this stuff, right? There's meal plans, recipes, stuff like that all in there. So you can always look in there. Okay. Not that one. This one. Message in there. Hey, I need to be on the content or the education group. Click on the little person icon.
Tell you I need to be on.
Well, it'll tell Amelia, but she can add you. Okay, really quick, grab your, so the meal plan creation, that's similar to just this. I just did it for somebody that's eating 1,800 calories. So you can look at that. It just kind of gives you some ideas, but we did that in person, right? The other sheet, the 30-day commitment sheet, can you guys pull that up really quick for me? Okay, remember how we started with the goal setting? On this 30-day commitment sheet, okay, this is I want you to create a habit that you're going to commit to over the next 30 days. Key. Well, let's do it first and then I'll come back to it. And I'll ask you a question at the end. Okay. From some of the stuff you learned today and what you know what your goal is, what's just one habit that you're going to commit to over the next 30 days? You don't have to tell me right this second, but write it down, okay? I'm going to track my food, whether I do good or bad, I'm just going to track it, right? That's a good one after this conversation, right? Or if you feel really good that you're going to track it, maybe it's like, I'm going to hit my protein no matter what every day. Even if your calories not perfect, right? You're just going to at least make sure I hit the protein goal. So go ahead and write what yours is down now. And then the second one is you can just like, what is this habit mainly about? Is it protein? Is it tracking food? Is it like a training goal? Is it something different? It could be like it could be not emotional goal, but it could be like, it could just be like, I'm not gonna wait for the perfect time to do this. Like, I'm not gonna restart every Monday, right? If I mess up next day, I'm gonna get back on it. Guys, the ones that have gotten the best, so Raw has been open 9 years. The ones that have gotten the best results and maintained it the longest, right, with their body composition and health goals, are not the most perfect by any means. But they're generally the most consistent, right? They get their workouts in, they're out of town, they jump back into it. Maybe they had an off night on Saturday night. Guess what they do Sunday? Schedule their workouts or get a workout in. They plan their food for the week. They do something, right? They don't let one bad situation, I call it the snowball effect kind of thing for health and fitness. So they don't let one bad off decision turn into 2, to turn into 3, to turn into 6 months, to turn into 5 years, right? So one thing, so this is what I'm getting to, is if you tend to fall into that scenario, something you could put for your habit is, I'm never going to have 2 bad actions back to back, right? You're going to stop that snowball effect in order. So I went out Saturday, we had drinks, I ate whatever I wanted, blah, blah, blah. I went over my calories, blah, blah, blah. Instead of saying, screw it, I'm done, my next decision has to be on track. And maybe it's that night still. All right, you know what? Didn't do too great. I'm going to get a water really quick. I'm going to go into the Go members and I'm going to schedule my workout for Monday, right? Like, make your next action back on track of your goals. Okay. So that could be a habit if you want it. Okay. Does everybody have their habit? Okay. Next, I want you to put, I will do this how many days per week over the next 4 weeks, month, whatever. So how many days a week are you going to commit to this? Doesn't have to be every day if you don't want it to be, right? And then once you decide that, I want you to kind of commit to yourself, by this date, I will have done my monthly InBody scan, which once it's working, which, by the way, it is, I shipped it out, so they're trying to figure it out, fix it finally. They'll bring it back, so we should have it by 4 weeks, hopefully. I mean, do measurement inches, do your weight. Normally when we do these nutrition workshops, I'm going to encourage everybody to go get a scan. Obviously I couldn't do that. I've been trying to get them to send it in forever. They finally did this week. Weight measurements, if you have to, go picture, right? You can do pictures, pictures tell a lot. But regardless, from now, like at the end of the month, I want you to commit to getting an InBody scan done. And I encourage you to do that every single month. Again, so we track behaviors here, right? Who's being successful with their health and fitness, and that could look different for different people, right? But who's doing it well and who's maintaining it long, and we say, what are the behaviors they do? And we track that. We look at that and we try to build programs around it. Like we try to do everything towards that, right? So our goal is to help you guys be successful in it. And one of the ones that we have found, not only are the ones that are very successful are most consistent, right? Maybe they don't hit all their workouts for the week, or maybe they don't hit their food perfectly, but they just like keep trying to go back to it. That's what you got to do. But they also are very communicative in the My Accountability app usually, okay, or like almost 100% of the time, right? They usually are the ones that are communicating, even if it's like when we reach out, you communicate back. So get in the app, right? If you want to be successful. But they also usually get a monthly-ish InBody scan, because what you measure, you improve, right? So if you go in there and get a scan done, get your weight done, whatever, okay, and we have a system that as soon as you do a scan, it triggers a reach out from Amelia, right? So it helps, whether even if it was good, bad, whatever it is, right? It's going to trigger, she's going to reach out to you and touch base, right? Okay, so does everybody have their plan? Okay, I'm going to ask you this question really quick before you finalize it. On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being like super easy, I'll easily do this. 1 is like, there's not a chance I'm going to do this, right? Rate your habit that you're going to follow through with over the next 90 or 30 days. How likely are you to follow through with that plan? 1 out of 10. You can write it down somewhere, whatever you want to do.
10 being most likely.
10 being is like, 10 is like, for sure I'm going to do it, right? Is anybody less than an 8? And it's okay if it is. Okay, we need to change your plan, right? You start getting less than 8, you're not going to do it, right? So we need to make it easier, right? We need to take something out, right? So say, pal, use you for example, if you're cool with it. Just say you're like 7 days a week, I'm going to do this, right? Make it out of 3. Make it out of 2. Make it out of 1. It doesn't matter. Whatever you do to where you're like, I can definitely do that, right? So make if you're like, I'm not a 9 or a 10, okay? You need to make the plan easier, right? Everybody's coming in from different situations, right? So obviously I wish it was black and white and everybody should do the exact same thing and we can all do this together, this and that. It doesn't work that way, right? Some of us as kids, work, this, that, this going on with their parent, whatever, right? You need, in order to be successful, not picking on you, Pat, but I'm going to use you as an example, right? If Pat put in a plan and it's too much for him at this current point in his life where he's at right here today, right? What's going to be more beneficial for him? Doing that and failing, or scaling it back to like 1 day a week, I'm going to track and the rest I'm just going to do whatever. What's going to be more helpful for him in the long run? Scaling back, right? Because then what happens, which is why we don't do macros when somebody first walks in our door, right? Because they're not gonna do it. I don't care who it is, right? Way overwhelming, way too overwhelming. That's why we do it here for like some of our OGs, veterans, stuff like that, right? Where once you do it for a couple weeks, and this is why we build our nutrition plan the way that we do with our one-on-one nutrition clients, is they have to do one thing consistently for 2 weeks. And if they don't, guess what they're going to do for another 2 weeks? The same thing, but maybe even easier, right? Until they can master that they're doing it consistently, right? Then we add the next thing. Then we add the next thing. Where then this becomes super easy because it's just one little step forward versus 100 steps forward, right? And that's why I've emphasized a couple times today, if this is too much, this is complicated, just do whole foods or just try to hit some calories or just do it for 2 days, right? So you start becoming aware. Does that make sense? Everybody cool with that? Is everybody now at a 9 or 10 confidence level that they'll follow through? Yay? Yeah, good. All right, so I mentioned this. Every 30 days, not even just the next 30 days, every 30 days, I would highly recommend all of you get in for an InBody scan, okay? Jump on there. Normally, we'll probably have it back where we normally do, right? I don't have to try all these different outlets that they has me do. But it's do your monthly InBody scan, okay? Check it against your calories, proteins, and workouts and all that, right? If you didn't get the progress you wanted, okay, go back to that chart and say, okay, maybe I'll drop my calories from 10 times my body weight to 9. Let me try that. Right? It's a trial and error game. It's not going to be perfect, right? Some people are going to respond better to this. Some people respond better to this. We got to do a little bit of assessing and measuring to see what works, what doesn't. Fair? And when you do the scan, Amelia will reach out so she can help you work through plateaus and stuff like that too. Fair? Okay, now, I don't want you to focus on this yet, but here's the thing. Once you hit your goal, what happens? If anyone's willing to share, you don't have to share your story, but like if anyone's willing to admit this scenario, has anybody gotten to like their goal weight or close and then gained their weight back if it was weight loss? Yeah, because what happens, and this is also why, so all of our first challenges started with like, all right, just follow this meal plan. I don't care anything else, just hit this. We're kind of going back to because it works really well early, but now we have steps after that'll help better. Then we transition to like the plate system. How many of you guys have done the plate system? Okay. Plate system is good, it gives you flexibility, teaches you how to eat and everything there. And then usually we teach you more macros and calories because you need macros and calories to do what we call reverse dieting. Okay. So once you hit your goal, instead of saying, all right, I'm good, let me go back to the old habits that got me here in the first place, your body, you can actually eventually kind of do that somewhat. But the problem is your metabolism is at a certain point here now that you've lost the weight. What happens is, say you're in a calorie deficit here, right? Your metabolism is set to that. So instead of going from 1,400 calories to maybe Rochelle's maintenance level is 1,800 calories, you can't just jump from 14 to 18. Your body's like, oh yeah, I know what to do with this. It doesn't, right? So how you do this the right way, this is why tracking is so helpful at this point. So yes, it helps you get some flexibility, helps you really make sure you get results, but it's exceptionally helpful for once you hit that target, how to reverse diet to your maintenance level without gaining your weight back, right? So what you would do, you'd take about 1 to 2 week period at a time and you would add 100 calories to your target. So say Rochelle's trying to lose body fat, for instance, she's at 1,400 calories. For the next 2 weeks, she would get 1,500 calories or like 1,450 to 1,500, right? Then after 2 weeks, checking her weight, make sure it's not going up too much, anything there. Then she would go to, say, 1,600 calories, right? Do it for about 2 weeks, make sure it's good there. Then go to 17, make sure it's good there because it gives your body's metabolism time to catch up to the changes, right? It's called reverse dieting for a reason, right? Then she goes to 17 and say her maintenance is 1,800, right? Then she goes to 18. Well, maybe she finds at 17, she might start creeping up a little bit then. Then she knows, okay, maybe this is my set point versus 1,800, right? Does that make sense?
No.
So again, don't worry about that now, but if you get to that point, you hit your goals that you're trying to target, you're going to want to do this reverse dieting. That's why tracking is so easy and helpful, or helpful in this scenario. This is what we're living for. Because then you get to maintenance. I'd recommend do the maintenance for 2, 3, 4 weeks to know what that looks like, how much food that is, and then you don't really have to track anymore unless you want to. You know what I mean? Or if you start slipping, right, it allows you to kind of get back to it. Okay, a couple things. Okay, if you don't need it, great. If you need it, we're here for it. Okay, this is kind of the self-serve plan, right? Use this plan, get to your workouts, do the monthly scan. You do that, you'll be good, right? If you feel you don't do well without accountability, right? Just talk to me, reach out to Amelia. We got one-on-one nutrition. Our semi-privates, we work with you personally on this. So you have your own coach working with you every 2 weeks on this process, right? So if you do need more coaching, you find you just don't do it unless you have accountability, which happens a lot, right? Okay, you can do that. Or if you want more advanced stuff, guys, we can create custom supplement packs for you based on your goal, or Logic Health. Okay, some of you guys are using Logic Health. Very good. They have you do blood work. You meet with a doctor. They look at your blood work. You talk to a health specialist, talk about your goals. They create a medical plan. That could be hormone replacement therapy. That could be GLPs. I'm not opposed to GLPs if you're doing the right things, right? Please do GLP-3, not GLP-1, which is like retatrutide. But they can help you with that if you need that, right? That's out of our scope of practice, right? So we brought them in to help you guys there. Not saying you need it or not, right? But if you are, those resources are there. Also, My Accountability Plus. We made some of this process easier for you. So if you haven't set this up, shoot Amelia a message in My Accountability now and we can set it up for you. Okay. In My Accountability, we can create your meal plans for you. If you just don't even want to think about it, you want it to spit out meals for you, or just to get like ideas, right? In My Accountability, some of you may already have it. Okay. You can shoot Amelia a message here. Okay, saying, hey, I want to get the custom nutrition in the app. Okay, can you help me set it up, right? But it will look like this. At the bottom, you'll see meals. You won't have that if you don't have it set up. Okay, in the bottom meals, and we set this up for you on the back end. What your so you have to send what your calorie goals are too. Okay, set up your calorie goals. Send her that. We add this for you, and it'll literally create a meal plan for you. So day 1, day 2, day 3. It has the recipe, how to make it, how to cook it, all of that in there, and it matches your calorie and protein goal. Okay, might not be 100%, but it's gonna be pretty close, right? And then once you say, "Yep, I want," or say you don't want one of the meals. So say this had I have for lunch a peanut butter chocolate monkey smoothie, right? Like, you know what? I don't like that. I don't like peanut butter, whatever. I can click this swap, and it'll swap out any other meal that matches that same calorie range. And there's tons, right? So I can be like, you know what? I want an egg salad, right? I'm gonna do that instead. Click swap. Once you have all your meals, you can go up here to grocery list, and it'll auto generate a grocery list for you.
So when we.
So you can literally
click
print that off or bring it to the thing. There's check marks. You can literally check it once you put it in your cart. It's great.
When we click that, does Amelia find the meals, or do we have a list of the meals and we click the ones we like and then she creates it from there?
No, so she creates it based on your numbers, and then you can kind of go in there. So like say day 1, mine is a creamy kiwi smoothie, Asian pork tenderloin, lettuce taco, chicken, lentil meal, whatever, right? Say I don't like lentils. I can go here. It's gonna give me options that still match my calorie range. And I go here,
Then
like-
I can see my choice.
Correct. And then so say I'm gonna do the creamy like whatever cauliflower thing, swap it, and then it'll create a.
Okay, cool.
Does that make sense?
I did not use that because I was so afraid.
Yeah, it's super helpful. Yeah. Question?
We just messaged Amelia. Fine.
Yeah, say I want to add the nutrition like meal plan in the My Accountability app. Can you help me set that up? Here's my calorie goal. Right now, the one issue, if you're on a low calorie, I think it minimum lets you do 1,400 calories though. So you might have to adjust it a little bit, but it'll give you pretty close. Yeah,
How would that be different from ones that you already said?
they're probably better. You know, not macro wise better, but like mine are like the way we created ours. We created ours for like 4 years, like every week. And we did it like, okay, is it going to probably taste relatively good? Is it going to be super easy to make, right? These are probably maybe a little more complicated meals. Yeah, you know what I mean? But these are going to taste really good. These are like created by a chef, not me. You know what I mean? So the other ones are just quick, simple that you can do, right? These are probably a little more in depth. Anything there, you're probably going to get better. Like it's going to taste better. You know what I mean? Not that ours tastes bad, but it's just, this is somebody professional making actual good food. And then the system kind of builds it out calorie wise. Where ours is just like, let's keep it simple and easy, right? Yeah, exactly. A good question. Now, two things that we're going to kind of launch here. All of you should have these 2 groups in your My Accountability as well. So the ones Joe's talking about, where we send out the meal plans, we're going to start shifting that to being sent out in a separate group. Okay, so not in the Raw Fit client group where like there's a bunch of other stuff going on in that group. So you can just go in there and it's just the only thing going on in there is the weekly meal plans that we send out. Okay, it's just an easier version kind of this, but it's not custom to you either. It's just like I think women's are at 1,200, guys are at like 1,800 for that, right? So that's going to be in there. And then the second one, something a lot of people have asked about before, so we're going to try it, is we're going to have a group in there for like sharing recipes. So if you have a recipe that you like, throw it in there, right? Kim has a recipe, she throws it in there. Jessica just found a recipe, she tried it, she threw it in there. So it's just like essentially a long list of different recipes that we can all try and get help from or whatever. You should have it. I think it's called, does anyone see them? Yeah, so one is called like shared recipes.
This is in the comment, or is this Facebook?
It's My Accountability.
Yeah, I see it.
So one's weekly meal plans, that's where like the weekly meal plans we send out will go. And then raw recipe sharing group is what we'll start doing in there. What's that? Yeah, nothing's been happening yet. I was waiting until this. We had so much going on. I didn't want to like overbarn you with like all these different things, but you guys will start seeing it there. Okay. All right. So now you guys kind of have your plan. You know your numbers. We kind of went through an example day. You have your 30-day habit plan. Okay. So for the next 30 days, follow your plan, get your butt in here consistently, do your in-body. Everybody good with that? Yay? Okay. Yeah, it's nice, right?
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody have any questions on all of this? Yes.
I've always had protein be the highest percentage, or at least equal to the carb.
Well, based on this, if you're still on, who is it?
Beth,
Can you see if she's still on? Like, do you see her on there?
there's 3 people on, I don't know.
Beth, message if you're still on there. So, again, based on this, I would say don't worry about it, right? As long as you hit your grams of protein and your calories, it doesn't really matter where your carbs are at. However, and Beth, I know you're very active, right? At least you get in here consistently. Then I would say, yes, probably your carbs should be a little bit higher than protein. My rule of thumb, what I recommend for most people, unless you have some insulin resistance going on, is I would recommend carbs higher, fats a little bit lower. Okay. And then as you get like more maintenance, then I would kind of like bring them a little bit closer together, but still have your carbs higher. Because carbs are going to give you fuel for energy. They're going to help you build muscle and maintain your muscle, right? The only time that's not as effective is if you have some insulin resistance, which is possible, right? Your body doesn't utilize those carbs very well. You could eat a carrot, which has little carbs in relation to other things, and it's like too much carbs for you, right? In that scenario, if you know you have insulin resistance, or maybe you've struggled with your weight a long time or whatever it is, had issues, maybe you didn't eat very well for a long period of time, lots of carbs, lots of sugar in particular, you might be insulin resistant. In that scenario, I would say keep your carbs 20% or below, and then your fat can be like 50, 60%. Yeah.
How do you find out if you-
I'm sure like with your doctor, you can find certain things there. But really like anytime, like if you're just not even eating a ton of carbs and you're just like, you're doing everything else you need to be doing and you're like having a lot of issues, you could have some issues there. You know what I mean? There might be some other ways I don't necessarily know off the top of my head, but okay, that's it for my thing. Any questions on any of this?
How do your activity calories like factor into your daily? plan?
Don't worry about it.
Just-
Too complicated.
Oh, that's
Too complicated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Now,
there's so much higher, it could be way higher.
it could. So the only time I'll tell you to think about that is not so much in your daily activities. Because obviously I would love if everybody's moving their body relatively frequently, right? Depending on who you are, if you could train your body 3 to 5 times a week, right? If you have less stress or you've been doing it a long time, you can get away with 5. If you have a lot of stress in your life, you don't sleep very well, blah, 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 I'd keep it closer to 3, right? Or if you keep having nagging injuries pop up, keep it to 3, okay? But move your body those other days, right? Like lower intensity, get more steps in, stuff like that. But to answer your question, if you're doing this and the numbers aren't moving the way that you're intending them to move, then I would adjust your calories that way, right? So say you came up, just say, Tina, these are your numbers, right? 1,400 and 120. Say, can I ask, are you trying to lose body fat, gain muscle?
Use fat.
Okay. So if you're trying to lose fat and the numbers aren't doing that, then what I would say is just slowly decrease this number, 50 to 100 calories at a time, right? Now, if you're like getting really low in calories and you're still not there, then this is getting more complicated, but probably would work for you, is you might need to do a little bit of reverse dieting to your set point needs to be higher than 14 because you move so much. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We might need to do this reverse dieting thing over here
Yeah.
where we go from, say you went all the way to 12 and you're still like, it's not moving, right?
Yeah.
We might say, okay, let's slowly go back to 13, go back to 14. Let's do it for a couple weeks. Let's go to 15, see what's happening there. Let's go to 16, see what's happening there, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna track it.
Yeah, that's what I'd say. Do that first. Because here's the thing. If we can get all the results we want and keep it as easy as possible, that's a win-win, right? We start making it super complicated, it gets a lot harder, right? So, good question though. Any other questions on this?
No.
Or just in general? It doesn't even have to necessarily be on this. It could be anything else, nutrition, training, anything.